Hi guys, Torn McGrath here. Wanted to show you some draw positions for the Peter Church spear and spears in general. And by draw position, I mean taking the spear from its position of carry to its position of guard. So, our first position is going to be using the spear like a walking stick, hiking staff. You're walking down a jungle trail, or you're going off to the beach to do some spear fishing, and how much room you have will depend on what type of draw you're going to use. So let's say you're going down the jungle trail, you're constricted by trees, you need to keep this close quarter, show you from the side. You're going to move the spear to your hip, and then your hand is going to grab the spear right where it comes in contact with your hip, because you can feel it there. Under stress, it's a lot easier to feel a point of contact than look for it. So I'm not doing a flying move in the air if my concentration is on the bag over there. I'm touching my hip, and then my hand touches or grabs a part of the spear that's touching my hip. Now I'm in a position where I can use middle grip on spear, which is useful for blocking both high and low, different parts of the body. And it's easy to do your cuts here and your strikes in a more congested environment like a jungle trail with trees around you. If you, however, in the old days in the Philippines, you go into the beach to do some spear fishing among the rocks or whatnot on the edge of the shore, then you're going to do the same beginning position, bring it to the hip, but now touch that part of your hip and then slide down to the back of the spear. That gives you better extension, and you want to make use of the length of the spear if you have an open area like a beach. Both of these positions are based on the idea of Peter Church spear is a fairly heavy socket, the metal tube that connects the spear head to the shaft of, in our case, rattan, a pole, right? So that when you have a spear that cutting and striking with the head is a major part of its technique, then you want to have the right hand on top, or the dominant hand on top, and you're basically going to swing it like a sword, right? You have a lot of impact there. However, if you have a more slender spear, if it's a thrust-centric spear, let's say a spearhead mounted on bamboo, where you may not want to strike with that heavily against another weapon, then you're going to want to have your dominant hand in back, because you're primarily thrusting with that, and you have more strength with the dominant hand than just sliding in and out of your non-dominant hand. And that comes into play if you are, let's say, walking in an open area, going to the beach, and you have the spear resting over your shoulder. Then what you generally, when you go for the draw, you wind up in the opposite, drawing it to the opposite hip, right? So that if you had a cut-centric spear, you'd want to carry the spear on the dominant side shoulder, because that puts the dominant hand in forward position. However, if you have a thrust-centric spear, let's say it's made out of bamboo, then you would have the spear on the non-dominant side. So when you grab and guard, now you have the dominant hand in back for your primary thrust, right? Another thing we do in Peter Church is, if you, let's say you're out there actively engaged in spear fishing, right? And you get attacked, some guys coming out of the tree line, oh shoot, what do I do? So what we have is techniques in the forms where you're going to actually fake a throw. You don't want to throw away your only weapon, but you'll come and use that as a strike with that. On our spears, there's a metal pommel on the end with a spike on it. And that's a pretty easy thing to do. However, what you want to train for is not stabbing yourself with the head of the spear. So you want to swing that so that there's some gap between the spearhead and the side of your body. I mean, it's pretty obvious you don't want to, go down vertically. You're going to pop yourself with the spearhead. So you want to practice striking to either side with the spearhead, next to your body with some gap here as a buffer zone in case you make a mistake, right? And then from there, after you hit, you might fake a throw, get some distance, and then do your strike. And then from here, you can come up and go back into, once you've created some distance with them, you can go back into your standard grip with the head forward. So, different things to think about as you're drawing the spear. Thank you.